Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joycey Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about the civil rights of transgenders. So first of all, if we analyze what is the current affair, we will see that the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Bill 2019 has been introduced in the Parliament, and this was introduced by the Minister for Social Justice and Empowerment. So the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Bill, from the name itself we can infer that it is for the rights of transgenders or to protect the rights of the transgenders. So with this we will understand the details of the bill, and we will also analyze what is the definition given to transgenders, what are the provisions of this bill, and we will also discuss about the certificate of identity to the transgenders, the welfare measures the government has taken, and what are the offences and penalties against transgenders. We will also discuss in detail National Council for Transgender Persons or NCERT. So we will discuss all this in detail in this lecture. And from your UPSC perspective, this is very much important both from your prelims and your mains examination point of view. From your mains examination point of view, analysis of the rights and the implementation of the rights of the transgenders becomes very important. From your prelims examination point of view, NCERT is very important. So we will discuss all these aspects in detail in this lecture. So let us begin with the bill. What is this bill all about? So the bill is all about the recognition of transgenders as a individual with dignity, and also the recognition of identity of the transgender persons. So this bill aims at recognizing the identity of the transgenders, and secondly it aims at prohibition of any kind of discrimination against the transgenders. They are to be treated equally on par with any other individual, any other citizen. And thirdly, this bill also introduces various welfare measures for the transgenders. Now, it also provides for the setting up of a National Council for Transgender Persons. So these are some of the objectives of the bill. So we will discuss about the provisions of the bill in detail. But to give you a brief idea what this bill is all about, it tries to protect the rights of the transgender people in India, and also it recognizes the identity and prohibits any kind of discrimination against transgender persons. It introduces various welfare measures for the progression of the transgender people, and also it tries to establish a National Council for Transgender people. So let us come to the definition of transgender. So as per the bill, according to the Transgender Persons Right to Protection Bill, a transgender person is defined. So a transgender person is a person whose gender does not match the gender assigned at the time of birth. So this is the definition given in the bill. That is, if the gender of a person doesn't match with the gender that was assigned to that person at the time of the birth, this person is defined as a transgender. So here we will see a proper definition of the transgender has been given in the bill. So according to this definition, this transgender or the scope of transgender includes trans men, trans women, persons with intersex variations, persons with socio-cultural identities. All these people are included under the definition of transgender. Now, what is intersex variation? Intersex variations are defined to mean a person who at the time of the birth shows a variation in his or her primary sexual characteristics. So intersex variations can be identified at the time of birth itself. So at the time of the birth itself, that particular person will exhibit or show variations in the primary sexual characteristics. So this is the definition. Now coming to the provisions of the bill. So the first one, the provision provides for prohibition of any kind of discrimination against the transgender persons. So discrimination, for example, can be denial of any service or any treatment or any provision, any public service. These are all examples of discrimination. So it provides for prohibition of any kind of discrimination towards the transgender people, and this is in relation to various heads. The first one is education. That means in educational institutions that are either funded by or recognized by a government shall provide inclusive education, sports, educational services, recreational activities, etc. It means that if any educational institution is funded partially or completely, or any educational institution that is recognized by the government, that particular educational institution cannot discriminate a person only because the person is a transgender. So this is the first one. Now second one is regarding employment opportunities. Here also government as well as private companies, those companies or any establishments that are run by private individuals cannot discriminate transgenders in the process of recruitment as well as in promotion. While recruiting and also while considering for promotions, they should be given an equal opportunity considered to others. And regarding employment, this bill also mandates that in every organization or in every establishment, there should be an officer who will deal with the complaints of the transgenders. This is also mandated under the bill. Now the third provision is regarding healthcare services. So under the bill, it provides for providing healthcare services to the transgenders. It includes provision of healthcare facilities, provision of health insurance schemes, etc. to the transgenders. They should be treated on par with others. Now, regarding public services. So here also discrimination is completely banned. That is, they should have access to public services with equal opportunity like others. Another one is regarding right to movement. That is, they cannot be prohibited from moving around or from traveling from one place to another or migration. Nothing can be prohibited. Now, next one is the right to reside, rent or otherwise occupy a property. This is also provided under the bill. The transgender persons will have the complete right to occupy a particular space, rent, take a property or a residential space for rent, and also to reside at a particular place. Now next one is regarding occupation of a public office or a private office. This is also banned, and any transgender person cannot be discriminated. This discrimination is banned. So any person, a transgender person, can occupy an office, either public or private. Next one is regarding to access to government establishment or a private establishment. So this is also mandated under the law that there cannot be any kind of discrimination. So basically the bill provides, or the provision of the bill provides for prohibiting or banning any kind of discrimination against the transgender persons. Now next we will talk about the certificate of identity of the transgender persons. So any transgender person can take an certificate of identity. For that purpose, a person will have to make an application to the district magistrate. So application has to be filed with the district magistrate. This can be a potential question for your UPSC preliminary examination. So application has to be given to the district magistrate, and in the application the gender has to be indicated as transgender. And likewise, a revised certificate can also be granted in case the person undergoes a surgery, that is a medical surgery to change the gender either to male or female. So that can also be taken. Now if we talk about the welfare measures of the government is undertaking a lot of welfare measures for the transgender persons. Now if we talk what should be the focus of the government, it should focus on, one is inclusion and second one is participation. So this will include banning of any kind of discrimination against the transgender persons. So transgender persons should be given equal opportunity. That means there should be inclusion, and second one is participation. So all the welfare activities undertaken by the government should focus on these two aspects, that is inclusion and participation. And for that purpose the government can introduce rehabilitation facilities, rescue facilities, and also can provide vocational training, skill development, employment opportunities, self-employment opportunities. The public sector banks can provide loans for undertaking self-employment activities, running small businesses. So all these measures can be taken. So finally it should aim at the empowerment of the transgender persons. Now coming to offences and penalties. So what are the offences against persons who discriminate, or any person who does any crime against a transgender person? The first one is the offense of forced or bonded labor. So if the transgender persons are compelled to do certain work, it is an offense under the law. Now the second one is denial of the use of public places. So if the transgender persons are denied the use of public places, that is also an offense under the law. Now third one is removal of the transgender persons from the household or from the village is also considered to be an offense. Now fourth is abuse of any kind. It can be physical abuse, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, emotional or economic abuse. Any kind of abuse is also considered to be a offense under the law. And the penalty for this offenses vary from imprisonment of 6 months to 2 years, and this can also be accompanied with a fine or a monetary penalty. Now coming to the most important part of this lecture regarding NCT. This is very important from your UPSC Prelims examination point of view. So let us talk about NCT. NCT is National Council for Transgender Persons. Now first let us see how is the composition of NCT designed. First one, there shall be a chairperson for the NCT, and the chairperson will be the Union Minister for Social Justice. So the Union Minister will serve as the chairperson. Second is the vice chairperson, who will be the Minister of State for Social Justice. Now there will be a secretary of the Ministry of Social Justice who shall also be a member of the NCT. Now there shall be representatives from various ministries including Health Ministry, Home Affairs Ministry and Human Resources Development Ministry. Again, the other members of the NCT include representatives from Niti Aayog and National Human Rights Commission. So these are all the members and this is the composition of NCT. Now, apart from all these members, the state governments shall also be given representation in the NCT. And along with that, there shall be 5 persons from the transgender community and 5 persons from NGOs. So 5 plus 5. 5 from the community and 5 from the NGOs. Now talking about the functions of NCT. The first one is to advise the central government regarding any welfare measure or any policy or guideline to be issued for the transgenders and for the welfare of the transgenders. The first one is the advisory role of the NCT. Second one is monitoring role, that is the NCT will have to monitor all the impact of any legislation made by the central government, any policy, any welfare measure, whatever steps the central government has taken, NCT will have to monitor it and give recommendations to the government. Now, third role is the role of grievance redressal. So, NCT shall also be responsible for addressing the grievances of the transgender community. So these are the functions of NCT and this is the composition of NCT. This is very important from your UPSC Prelims examination point of view. And the other topics that we discussed, the analysis of all the provisions of the bill is very important from your mains examination point of view. You can find the PDF of this lecture on our website www.studyiq.com. You can also follow my Facebook page for more video updates. Thank you.